Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm coming at you with all of my reactions to my library books that I'm gonna drop. There we go, to my library books. So about 3 weeks ago, I talked about the last 5 library books that I picked up from the library, and now here we are, weeks later, and I've finished all of them, so it's time for me to talk all about them. So let's just get right into it. So, the first book on the list was Shadow Song. So, this was the second book and the end. So this was a duology, so this is the second and last book in this series. And, okay, it was better than the first one because the world building definitely opened up a little bit more. There was less, I don't know why I get so stuck on this. Nope, not Hobbit, Goblin King. I don't know what's wrong with me. Goblin King. There was definitely less Goblin King in this one. But there was still a lot going on, and it was more cohesive. I understood it a lot better than the first one. The first one I found I was like, what's going on? Why is this happening? Where are we going? But this one was more intriguing, and then you learned more of the backstory on like past queens, goblin queens, and it was just really, really intriguing to read about. And you had some really interesting characters, and we got to see more of the main character. We got to see more of her siblings that we didn't see. I mean, we knew of them in the first book, but we didn't actually get to see them in the second book. I mean, we did see them in the second book, but like, oh, I said that backwards. The first book, we met them, but we didn't really know who they were. We were like, oh, they're her siblings, whatever. But the second one, we really dove into who they were, and they really played a part in this book, and it was really well done. So I ended up rating this one 3.75. I mean, it's almost a 4, but I was like, there was still moments where I was like, this could have been better. This could have been better. So that was this duology. I still really liked it. I mean, it was great. I don't regret reading it, so there's that. The next book that we're going to be talking about is Washington Black. So this one is part of the Canada Reads nominated books for 2022. This one is actually shortlisted. So there's 15 books total that are nominated for the long list, and then there are 5 books that are on the short list, and this one happens to be one of them. And this one was a really interesting novel. It was really slow paced. It took a lot to get into. Like, I was like, where are we going with this? Like, the book is broken up into different sections of Washington's life. So Washington Black is the main character, and it's basically broken up into different parts of his life, and it's really intriguing and really interesting, but just the fact that it was really slow paced really brought it down for me. I mean, I was like, I was coming near the end, and I was like, okay, like, what is gonna happen? I mean, it did end up coming full circle, so I really enjoyed that, and it was really well done. But yeah, the middle was really sloggy. It was really hard to get through, but I mean, we made it. I made it, and I actually really liked this. I believe I rated this 4 stars just because it was super interesting. I mean, I found out why there's an octopus on the cover. I mean, there's another cover that has the hot air balloon on it, and I think that one makes more sense than the octopus, but I also get why there's an octopus, and I'm not going to spoil it. So, I mean, it's not like a true spoiler. I mean, part of his life is him finding himself and really connecting with animals, and the octopus was one of them. So so it makes sense why it's there. But I mean, the hot air balloon was really what started everything for him. So that's why I was like, oh, the hot air balloon, or what, I can't remember what she called it in the novel, but it was not a hot air balloon. But I was like, this is interesting. So yeah, so there's this one. Definitely recommend, especially if you're reading Canadian fiction. So this is that. Alright, then the next book. Oh, oh. So, The Brink of Darkness. The Brink of Darkness is dark. I mean, it has, okay, I have to say, this is really cool. But yeah, this book, I rated it. What did I rate it? What did I end up giving this? 2 stars, I think I ended up giving this. Yeah. So, I realized why I didn't like the first one as soon as I started reading this one, and I went, I pulled my way through reading this one. I mean, I could have stopped. I could have stopped, but I kept going because I was like, okay, so how is this going? So this is also a duology. So this is the final book in this series, and the main character is so frustrating. Like, she makes these choices, and it's just like, why are you making these decisions? Like, she makes these such rash decisions because she's in love, and she's like, ugh. She met this guy 5 minutes ago, and all of a sudden she's like destroying her life for this, and he's not even a human. He's, I don't even, a demon, a thing that lived in hell. Like, no. And then her family is there, like, oh, you should probably, like, we love you, like, don't make these decisions. And then, like, then she makes these decisions, and then they just disappear, and you're like, what? Yeah, so I just, no. And then, like, the plots, things would just happen. No explanation as to what's happening, where they're going with it. It just things just happen, and then that's it. And I'm like, wait, how did we get here? And then characters would be introduced, just be like, bloop, here's a character, and you're like, where'd you come from? Thin air. So yeah, 2 stars, because I finished it, and I mean, there were some enjoyable moments, but for the most part, I didn't care for this entire duology. I mean, like, the concept was really cool. Like, the guy was born in, like, this hellish, like, I mean, even the world building wasn't that great, because I can't even describe it to you, because to me, I'm like, well, I think it's like a place like hell, but like, it wasn't described very well, so I'm like, yeah. So yeah, if the world building had been better, and if, like, we knew, I just, things could, like, there was the concept was there. It just didn't go anywhere. It didn't go in the direction I thought it was, and I mean, it could have been better. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. All right, the next book on the list is The Sleep Solution. Alright, this one was actually interesting. I rated this one 3.75, close to 4, because it was interesting, because there are a lot of things that I didn't know about sleep, and I learned a lot of cool things about sleep in this. I mean, it's a very thin novel. Not novel, it's nonfiction. It's a very thin book, so this is like a starting point for if you want to learn about sleep. I mean, I also wouldn't take this author's word as the Bible. I mean, he has great tips for getting better sleep, but I mean, not everything's gonna work for everybody. Like, this is just like, I feel like the very beginnings of learning about it. I mean, if you want to know more, you definitely should check out other books. But yeah, and also the reason I rated it about 3.75 is the fact that he kept inserting these weird jokes and like anecdotal stories into his like facts and stuff, and sometimes it just wasn't called for, so it would be like a little like a little number, and that a little footnote, so it would lead to the bottom of the page, and it's just like blah blah, like it would just be like, I don't agree, or I, like, it's just like, I don't even know if I could find like one that's really short. Oh, there's one at the bottom of this page that says, shocking, I know. We didn't need to, I mean, I didn't feel like we needed these little snippets. I think he was trying to be funny in the way that he was writing, so that it was like comical, and like, so that it wouldn't be a dry read, because it wasn't a dry read, but I mean, he didn't need that little bit at the bottom of the page to make it even more funnier than it was. So that's why I was like, we didn't need this. I mean, you wrote this really well to begin with. Like, it's very conversational and it's not hard to follow along with. It's actually very, very easy read. But yeah, those extra little things, I'm like, we didn't need this. So that was this one. This is my first nonfiction of the year. It was, I mean, it was a good nonfiction book. I mean, yeah, those were my thoughts. All right. And then the last book. I'm not doing very well this week this time with my library books, because the next book is Witch Shadow, and this is part of a series. This is book number 4, and I know when I made the video a few weeks ago when I talked about this, I said that I didn't remember anything that happened in the previous 3 novels, and I went back and I was like, I started like kind of doing a little bit of a reread of some of my reviews and stuff, and I was like, okay, I got this, but there's just something about this series, and I think that it's made its way through all of my reviews when I was reading it. It's just the fact that this is like high fantasy, and I think it's a me problem where I'm having a hard time picturing the world in my head, and just like there's so many concepts that she has going on where I'm like, what does she mean by this? I'm just like, what's going on? So that took me out of the story a lot, because I kept getting lost going, wait, what is this person? They're a witch. Like, everyone is like a witch something. Like, you could be a fire witch or a truth witch or a anything witch. So it was like, wait, what? Your powers are this? You can do this? But what really stuck out to me about this is the power of friendship that the 2 main characters have for each other. Like, it was like so strong, such a strong bond, and they would do anything for each other. So that's really what did it for me. Like, I rated this 3 stars because, 1, it's a really good series and a really good story. It's just, it's me who is having trouble focusing and keeping my attention in this world, just because my brain's like, what? I can't compute with what's going on. So it's a me thing, but yeah. So 3 stars for a good story and amazing friendship. So there was this one. I think there's going to be another novel just because of the way this one ended. Will I read it? Maybe. We'll see. We'll see when it comes out. I'm not sure. So that has been my library books for the past... My reading has been kind of sad. Nothing was really, like, stellar. Everything was just kind of like, I enjoyed it, but I didn't hate it. So those are my thoughts on the second batch of library books. I am set to go to the library in the next few days, so I will be making yet another prediction video in the coming weeks for the next 5 library books that I have coming in. So, until next time, like, subscribe, comment, do your thing, and I will see you in the next video. So, thanks and bye guys!